going to just warm up some leftovers. And I thank God. I thank God for all of His goodness. Revelation chapter 12. John the Revelator, Ronnie, the Lord inspired him to write this book of Revelation for our benefit. Right. And I'm telling you, there's so much in there. I've been studying the Bible for many years now. There's so much of Revelation I still ain't clear on. Some of it still kind of confuses me, but I'm still reading and I'm still studying. But in Revelation chapter 12, verse 10, John the Revelator said again, he said, I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of His Christ. For the accuser, talking about the devil, of our brethren is cast down, which accuse them before our God day and night. Verse 11, John said, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because that he knoweth, listen, he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And I'm telling you what, the devil works night and day. Oh, yeah. Because, Ronnie, he knows that he has a short time. But John said, he looked at those folks, and because they was victorious, because the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. Ronnie, what makes you good at a certain job? I know Tony has got his own carpenter, his construction company now. Yeah. Ronnie, you were a carpenter. Homer's a carpenter. My dad was a carpenter. I'm somewhat of a carpenter. But Ronnie, listen to me. Brother Lee Holiday preached my dad's funeral, and for the day before he preached my dad's funeral, he and I preached Dad's funeral, but together. But anyway, Brother Lee called Mom up, and he said, Sister Shirley, I want to ask you some questions. And he said, you're probably going to think that I'm crazy in a time like this. He said, but I got to ask you some questions, and you'll know about it after the funeral. He wanted to know when Dad started building that house up Mount Olive. Yeah. Wanted to know, ask her several questions about it. Brother Lee got up in Pennington Funeral Home up there at Gully Bridge, and he began to preach on working on the building and getting a finished product. He said, listen, there was days, he said, I wasn't there, but I guarantee you this happened. He said, Brother Paul would leave his house at Jody and go up Mount Olive to work on that new house. There was days, buddy, everything went like clockwork. And Homer, you know what I'm talking about. Tony, you know what I'm talking about. Ronnie, you know what I'm talking about. And the rest of you people. Some days, things went like clockwork. He said, but I wasn't there, but I guarantee you there was days Brother Paul went up there to work on that house. He couldn't measure nothing right. He couldn't cut nothing straight. Every nail he drove seemed like it went in crooked. But he kept on sawing, and he kept on measuring, and he kept on building, because he had to get that house done. And that's the same way, Jessica. The devil might fight us, but we got to keep on sawing, we got to keep measuring, and we got to keep nailing, because we're working on the building. Yes, sir. And Ronnie, listen, we might make a bad cat once in a while, but you know what? We'll learn from it when we saw the next morning. Because what? We've got a testimony on that last one. Listen, I straightened her out. And the Bible said in 1 Samuel chapter 17, as I quoted the scripture, and when Saul saw David, verse 55, go forth against the Philistine, he said unto Abner, the captain of the host, Abner, whose son is this youth? Abner said, as thy soul liveth, O king, I cannot tell. And the king said, inquire thou whose son this stripling is. Not only did Saul know him, Zack, Abner knew him. But in the valley, Ronnie, thank God forever, Jessica, something happened down there. He was changed. He was a different man. Praise the Lord forever. And as David returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, Abner took him, brought him before Saul with what? The head of the Philistine in his hand. You say, why in the world? I preached this, I don't know how many times in my 30-some years of preaching, Ronnie. I got a good idea, and I do a lot of thinking. When David stood before Saul and told him, said, I'll go fight that giant. Saul said, son, you're no match for that giant. He said, sir, God give me power to slay a lion and a bear. I don't believe that. But I tell you what, you want to hear some yard stretch? You talk to a young boy. Brother Harold, I'm telling you what, a young boy will tell you all kinds of tales. Yes, sir. Saul said, I've got another one of them tale-tellers. Yes, sir. Telling me a big yarn. Little as he is, ain't no way he slew a lion and a bear. David stood there. He thought to himself, I wish I had some more proof besides my word. He slew Goliath. Wasn't I preaching a little bit about it Sunday night? Before he got done, David didn't have nothing but a sling, didn't have a knife. You think somebody that slew a lion and a bear would have had a good hunting knife. But he didn't have a knife. But Goliath did. And the Bible said when, as Goliath was laying there on the ground, David went up and pulled his sword out of his sheath and cut his head off. Mary, I'd say people around say, what in the world's wrong with that boy? See that little old boy going down the road, holding Goliath's head by the hair? Maybe he was dragging it. But Andy, he said, I messed up one time, but I ain't going to mess up again. He said, if I'd have cut that lion and bear's head off, when Saul didn't believe that I slew that lion and bear, if I'd have had their head, I'd have showed it to him. He said, from now on, I got me a testimony. I got proof. When somebody thinks it can't be done, I'll show them. When Abner told him, said, Saul wants to talk to you. David said, wait a minute, I'm paraphrasing. He said, I'll just take my testimony. I'll take my proof. And Ronnie, give me a chord, Zack. I don't know. Jesus, Jesus, sing it.
How I trust Him, how I proved Him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust Him more.
Give me a verse.
I'm so glad I've Precious Jesus, my Savior and friend, and to know that Thou art
What about this line?
will be with me till the end. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I proved Him over and over and over. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust Him more.
The other night, one of the sisters in the church sent Jenna a message and told Jenna to tell me to pray for her. She was sick. And I said, Jenna, tell her to call me. Just a minute, half a minute, she called me. Ronnie, I got proof.
Oh, yeah.
I got proof
Amen.
that He's able.
Yeah.
The same thing that this sister deals with just about destroyed my mother-in-law. And one Sunday morning down in Emmons, West Virginia, she had went as far as she could go. And she came up to the altar to be anointed.
Yeah.
And she was anointed and prayed for, and that very hour she was set free.
Praise the Lord.
Now, Ronnie, I know we got folks in our church and folks as part of our media church
Yeah.
got problems. They're dealing with cancer and trying to fight it and doing their part.
Right.
And chemotherapy and radiation has proved to be a big help. A lot of times, sometimes it ain't. But Karen, I've proved him more and more. I ain't never had cancer, Ronnie. But I know one thing, the same God that's able to heal a headache, the same God's able to heal cancer. And I'll tell you one thing, Ronnie. When we're in the battle, and when we're in the valley, it's hard to pray.
Yes, it is.
Some folks is waiting till they get in the battle or in the valley to pray. And I'll tell you what, you better learn how to pray before you get there. But also, I'm talking. There's been times, and you've heard me tell the story of today's Jenna's birthday. She was down there in ICU, and buddy, we come home to get a shower and get cleaned up. Then down there, she was born on a Saturday evening, and I believe this was on a Monday. We come home, but I was devastated. I was devastated. I tried to pray, Ronnie, and couldn't get a hold of Brother Danny. I called Brother Fairley, and Brother Fairley was home. He said, Brother Richard, I'll be right there. Brother Fairley, some of you's heard me tell it, got down on his face right in the middle of the floor. He said, God, these folks need lifted up. They need help. Ronnie, I've got it by the hair of the head, praise the Lord. And He lifted us up. We still had a long battle, but He gave us strength. He gave us strength. Sing it, Zach.
'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus, just to take Him at His word, just to rest upon His promise, just to know thus saith the Lord.
Sing it now.
Jesus, Jesus, how I
ones that's watching by live stream, but I can see the ones in the church tonight. How many will agree with me? Maybe I'm the only one in the building. But how many times, Ronnie, has it been hard to trust the Lord? Come on! Anybody had a hard time? What I mean is saying, okay, Lord, it's yours. I'm considering it. Take it. That's hard to do. But how many in the church tonight can raise their hand and say, preacher, I proved him. I proved him. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Praise the Lord. Songwriter wrote, "'Tis so sweet to trust in Jesus." And it is sweet to trust him. But sometimes it's been hard for me to say, okay, Lord, I'm giving it to you. I trust you with it. Tough, ain't it, Ronnie?
Listen, man. That day, David.
Come on.
That day, David slew Goliath. He's on top of that mountain, preacher.
Come on.
He was on cloud nine. He had the head of Goliath. He had his sword in his hand. He was cloud nine. People was a cheering. People was giving him praise.
Come on.
He was coming back to the King Saul.
Yeah.
Just a few short years, he was on the run. He's down in that valley, Jessica, scared to death. That Saul was trying to send men to kill him. And he run and he hid and
Come on, Ronnie.
he got to the church house.
Come on, buddy.
Oh, he said, do you got any weapons?
Oh, listen to this.
He said, do you have any weapons? He said, well, we got one. He said, it's the sword of Goliath. Oh, David said,
I proved that.
you give it to me, there ain't nothing like it. They tried to give him a sword today to fight. He hadn't proved it yet.
No.
But he proved it that he'd already proved it. He said, give it to me because
That's good, Ronnie.
that day.
Yeah.
That's what we gotta do, Richard. We're gonna have valleys, we're gonna have mountains, we're gonna be on the mountain. The devil's gonna aggravate us and throw things at us and things are gonna happen. But what I was testifying earlier, I proved it.
Amen.
I've got my stones stacked up. I've had the testimony, and I know he's able.
Amen.
I didn't mean to get in your way.
I'm so glad I've learned to trust precious Jesus, Savior, friend, and I know that Thou art with me, will be with me till
Those in the building, those of you and sing it.
Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I prove Him over and over and over and over. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust in.
Now play softly. Elmer, stand and sing it. You proved it, buddy. Stand and sing that last verse. I'm so glad.
I'm so glad I learned to trust Him. Precious Jesus, Savior, friend.
Come on, buddy.
And I know that Thou art with me, will be with me till
Everybody now.
Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I prove Him o'er and o'er. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust Him more.
Amen, 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 amen. Praise the Lord. Ain't God good?